Mr. Rao, moving into non-urban areas is a very exciting development for most financial services companies. Even the urban market has several layers to it. But tell us what kind of products would be valid and working, and how do you see the market evolving here? Because they're very distinct regions.
The first challenge in the rural market is to create awareness about insurance. So one of the factors which will decide whether you will be able to sell your product or not is how do you make people aware that insurance can give them some sort of protection. So wherever we are looking at those type of markets, we work with players who are close to that market. It could be microfinance institutions or some NGOs who are working in those markets, who understand the market much better. So we work through them, try to understand what is the insurance requirement for the targeted people in that area, and then try to develop products suitable to that segment.
So can you give a couple of examples of how this is evolving?
For example, there is some agency in south based out of Chennai, which works in southern part of Tamil Nadu on bullock cart workers. So we have identified along with them that there is a need for them to insure against small health related ailments as well as personal accident. We have designed products for them, and we have been successful in marketing that through them. So this is one small example. Similarly, we are working with some agencies in some areas in Bengal, where we are looking at micro insurance product, which covers some of the agricultural equipments, the farm produce, and the houses of farmers, and try to market these products through such agencies.
But this is a great development, I think, for the country and as well as for the sector, because you're creating a completely new market. But how different is the experience of dealing with this new set of people, because their understanding and awareness of insurance products would be very different from those living in the city?
The advantage there is that once they are convinced that this is something which will help them when something unfortunate happens, they will be wholeheartedly supporting the initiative. So we have seen that moral hazard issues are very low, which is one of the pain points in some of the urban markets for insurance companies. And people, once they are committed, they will continue renewing their insurance policies. So that has been our experience.
But convincing them, that is the hard part.
Right.
So how do you convince them?
That is where we need to work with people who understand them better, who have been working with them for long. So through them, we will be able to give them some sort of information or awareness about the need for insurance. Also, some of them who have suffered in the past, when they see that when a similar unfortunate event happens and the guy who has been insured gets immediate relief, that convinces other people. So we set an example. In some cases, if an unfortunate event happens, we settle the claim faster and make other people aware that such a thing has happened.
Is there a business case for your company to go into non-urban areas, or do you see this as taking, maybe cross-subsidizing it from other markets, or perhaps seeding the market with products where perhaps your cost of operation may be higher than the return?
The urban markets to a large extent are saturated. Competition is high. Premium rates could be low. So in rural markets, one, you are trying to create a market. You are expanding the market. Thirdly, the regulator also has a requirement that each insurance company has to do a certain amount of business from rural areas. So by looking at the rural insurance, we will be able to satisfy the regulatory requirement, as well as we will be able to create new markets. And traditionally, the claims experience have been reasonably better in rural markets if you market the right products and service it in the right kind.
So you think the rural market claims is not as poor as people would believe?
Correct.
how do you make sure that, what is the mechanism through which you bring that culture and discipline, financial discipline?
The rural market, the one issue what everybody has to look at is the ticket size could be smaller.
Right.
Your operational cost could be higher. So you need to use technology as much as possible. You need to price your product correctly, which is affordable to the customer. But you need to create enough volume so that the thin margin you will be able to cover with larger volumes.
In this situation, it would be very interesting that you may have to create completely new products for the mid to rural, semi-urban to rural market. So are you going to create or are you going to adapt existing policies?
In many cases, we need to create products because the existing products could be too costly for that segment to appreciate. So we need to create new products, and also the need requirement could be slightly different from the urban customers.
And this should again change from from what a customer in West Bengal needs is different from what a customer in Tamil Nadu needs.
That's true, but that change could be you can adapt one product which you have marketed in Tamil Nadu, maybe with a little adaptation you will be able to market in West Bengal. It may not be a total change from the product what you have in the urban area.
But you see that becoming a larger part of your portfolio in the coming years?
We are targeting around 15% premium to come from this in the coming 2 years. We hope if we are able to do good penetration in successive years, we will reach as much as 30% of our premium coming from.